Nod or shake reviews, Willie nod or Willie shake.
I'm slinging way.
Hello, Johnny here with Jim Bobby. Welcome to another thing of Nod or Shake reviews. Nod if it's good, shake if it's not so good. Either way, you should check it out because you might find your new favorite movie. Speaking of not movies, so we are holding a contest. We asked you for some categories, and the one that won was books. So we're going to ask a question about a book. If you are subscribed to the channel and like us on Instagram, you're eligible to win a free digital code to a movie. Again, you have to be subscribed. Like the Instagram. It's hard to keep track of this nonsense. It can't be a DM. It has to be a comment. So we're going to ask a question. Books won. Ironically, I don't know how that happened. So
People read books.
So the question is, what Stephen King book is the sequel to The Shining, which was also a movie? So I guess that kind of works.
Yeah.
There's a train.
Technically, both were movies.
So again, what Stephen King book is the sequel to The Shining? If you are the first person to answer on either Instagram or on the YouTube, in the comments section, you will win the digital code to a movie. Alrighty, let's get to the review.
It's Spider-Man Across the Universe.
Nope,
or
that's
Spider-Verse.
You do not know the name of the movie.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Before we go into a review, I'm just going to drop like 1 or 2 spoilers. So after the nod or shake...
I'm going to spoil this entire film.
Don't do that. Alrighty, review time.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
I loved it. I think this was the I don't mean to...
Don't say it.
What?
You're going to say what I'm going to say, I think. I think you're going to say what I'm going to say, I think.
Maybe.
And it's a bold statement. It's a bold statement, Johnny.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to spoil. It ends with a cliffhanger. So I know there's a lot of complaints about movies that aren't complete stories, which I don't mind. But it ends on a cliffhanger. Not everything gets resolved, so people might not like that. Having said this, after
I don't understand why people don't like cliffhangers. I mean, it has a name for a reason.
I get
correctly. It's not just baiting you for a sequel. This is a sequel, so they already got you in the seat.
Yeah, but the first one is a complete story, and this
it was amazing.
They do not complete the story, which I get not.
But when you know you got a good story, you're allowed to do something like this.
So I think that everybody after this whole trilogy, no, I'm gonna say it. After this one, everyone's got to step up their multiverse game hard. This was the multiverse movie to end all multiverse movies, I think. I know you hate it, but I loved Everything All at Once. And I like this movie too, man, but like Multiverse of Madness, oof.
They didn't even touch on possibilities.
This movie was a love letter to Jesus.
It's not getting picked up, so you can go.
Oh. This was a love letter to Spider-Man like there's never been one, if that makes sense. The first one was great. I love the first one. One of my top favorites, but this one dialed it hardcore. So, amazing visuals. Oscar, I hate, but if this doesn't win Best Animation, then something's wrong.
Yeah, I love this movie, and I'm going to make the bold statement that you didn't. This is by far the best Spider-Man movie ever made. Period.
I have to review the tapes because, and this is not the movie's fault. I'm going to say this is not the movie's fault. There are parts that I genuinely could not hear because,
yes,
Regal, love you to death, but Regal, you let us down tonight, man.
Yeah, there's a reason why you're going bankrupt, and this is it. This was an RPX film. It was in a bigger theater with the shittier seats, but they call them better seats because they're made out of leather. The stereo sound was like sounding like it was a mono sound. and it was.
It sounded. I'm gonna say in layman's terms, it sounded like dog poo poo.
Yeah,
it was.
I mean, they tried to adjust it, but obviously the new people they got working there, they didn't train them right for the movie business, as Regal calls it. Anyway, on to my review. Best one ever made.
It's definitely
ever
good,
made,
man.
including the live actions. I don't give a shit. This movie is a love letter to Spider-Man and everything Spider-Man holds dear.
Yep.
And he's up against himself.
Yeah.
And that's the best part of it. That's
Yeah.
what I love about it. I think ultimately it's just so well made. So well made.
Yeah.
The artists are so great. They take great pains and to make sure that they include anything.
There's so much to see.
And they use the word canon.
Yeah, in a very clever way.
Very clever way.
Yeah.
To kind of give like a nice nod to fans that understand Spider-Man's canon and where he comes from.
In comics.
And in the comic books, in the franchise as a whole, they reference everything. Everything that you'd want to hear without pandering to its audience. It is so beautifully done. I applaud Sony for finally getting their act together after, many mistries. It's just beautiful, and it's a great ongoing of Miles Morales' story. It's so good.
It's so weird that they handle. First off, a little fun tidbit: this is the longest animated movie of all time now. It's the longest one.
Really?
Yeah.
How long was it?
It's 2 hours, two and a half hours. But
it doesn't feel it.
No. It's so weird that Sony handled this movie. It's a lot to handle, but they handle it with such grace. And then they make Venom, and they're like, oh, God. It's like, I don't know how you can't make a Venom movie, but for some reason, this is like, it's so natural, too. It's not like, like everything about it just worked for me. Well, except for the sound, but again, that's not the movie's fault.
It's not the movie's fault.
But
it's just they have everything, man. They have the family.
They have the tools.
Yeah,
they have the
and
talent.
They obviously have the right talent behind it, and they're not trying to they're just not trying to send the opposite of what Spider-Man's message is. Is that he is always good, no matter what. No matter what bad comes to him, he is always with great power.
This is the thing I like, though.
Wait a minute, you just cut me off. I got to finish that. You got to finish it since you cut me off.
Comes great responsibility. But you know what I like, though? They do the same message, but in a different way.
Yeah, of course. They do it. I read the Miles Morales comic books when it first started. He was a part of the Ultimate Earth, so he took over after Peter Parker dies by Green Goblin. Dude, freaking, it's just phenomenal. And it's even better. It's even better than the original story arc that came in the comic book. Because, they changed certain thing about, the artwork. They kind of made it a little bit more original. It's just so freaking good, man. I can't express how I feel right now. I feel as I felt when I first read my first Spider-Man. And that is a feeling of magic, and that is something that it's hard to cling to, it's hard to get back, but when I get it, it's an amazing feeling, and I got it during this movie. I applaud Sony. Very well done. Keep it up.
Keep an eye out for a lot of cameos, things to see. There's a lot to see. Definitely a movie you want to keep going to see because you probably missed something. But there's one thing, I don't want to say it, maybe someone will see it. There's one thing that people of our generation, of our age, was not in this movie that I think would go crazy for.
I'm waiting for it. I think it's going to be... Are you going to say what it is?
No.
Okay.
So
during our generation, I'm not going to say it either. There's one thing that I'm waiting for. One thing that he's waiting for. And if I don't get it, it won't upset me.
No.
But if I do get it, and I get it the way they've been selling these so far, it doesn't feel like pandering. It's all a part of the story, and it's a necessity for the story. They're just utilizing every aspect of its franchise to tell this very unique and very... It's just a groundbreaking story, in my opinion. You're right. No other movie has tackled the multiverse with such grace. This one does, without feeling like it's just pandering to you and you know, nostalgia baiting or whatever the internet's calling it now. But there's one thing, if I get it and I get it the right way, I'm going to lose my mind. And then, you know, I mean, I've already awarded it the trophy. It's the best Spider-Man movie by far. It takes the cake. It's it's as good as the Spectacular Spider-Man TV show. Boom, bing, bang, boom.
Yeah,
there you go.
So far, I would even go further. Not that this is saying a ton, but it's probably my favorite movie of the year so far. Everything
that's
needs
not
to
saying
step
much.
up.
I dropped my truth bomb of it being the best. You're just trying to top
I dropped
me.
a grenade.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thanks for cringing. Again, if you answer what Stephen King book is the sequel to The Shining, you will get a digital code to a movie and all that. Alrighty, thanks for cringing. Bye-bye.
Thanks for cringing.